Welcome back to the Stick 'em Up podcast. Brundi, we are right in the middle of the first round of the playoffs. A couple of teams have played 3 games now. I think most of them have played 2. We got a lot of fun stuff to talk about with all of those series. But before we do that, I believe we have at least one little bit of news regarding some GM rules around the NHL.
Yeah, we actually have some news that doesn't pertain to the playoffs. The only thing really that is going on involving teams not currently in the playoffs right now, and that is that the Vancouver Canucks have asked the Toronto Maple Leafs for permission to speak to Shane Doan in regards to their open general manager role.
I'm not gonna lie, there's so many names of former players and hockey minds connected to Toronto. I totally forgot that Shane Doan was even part of the org over there.
Yeah,
Do you know what his current role is? Is he just
not a clue.
It's
To be
not
honest,
a big enough one where he has like a named title that isn't just a bunch of buzzwords or whatever.
yeah. As far as to be honest, I totally forgot he was even there.
It's hard to remember. There's so many people. Like they got Dr. Wickenheiser over there as well.
Yeah, they got a lot of names in there, and to be honest, I like this for Vancouver. This was the way that I kind of thought they should go. I mean, if you are a team that really your only direction right now is going down, and again, given where the team is at, you're gonna have to be down there for 4+ years at least. Yeah, why not go and bring in? They will. They don't have the pieces to contend anytime soon.
I think they have definitely have the starting of like I feel like they're a team going into the 3rd year of their rebuild. I feel like compared to teams like
2 years ago they were in the playoffs.
No, obviously, but like compared where Chicago was when they tore it all down, year 1 they got Bedard.
Mm-hmm.
They are just finishing year 2 of that. That's where I feel like they are because they already have guys like Zeev Bium, Marco Rossi, and they're already in the NHL. Like they have multiple parts of their future that like are either already in their system or starting to even be in the NHL. You know, they got a bunch of prospects already. It's not just draft picks.
But they need those high-end prospects is what I'm saying. Like they can't because again they are the odds-on favorite to win first overall.
They
but
definitely
even if you
need
get that,
a couple years of top 3,
that's what I'm saying.
top 4 picks.
Yeah, you need 3 to 4 years of that.
I think they're a little
That's
bit
what I'm saying.
ahead
So
of
they're
that.
already kind of in like year 2, but say you get assuming they would take Gavin McKenna first overall. Again, you need a couple more years because you're going to need to add another defenseman into the mix there, and then you're going to need to get 2 to 3 more good young established forward prospects that because again they got a lot of decent guys, but they're kind of in that Calgary spot where they have a good amount of quantity, but they really need that quality.
Right.
Is kind of what they're looking for. And I think Shane Doan would be the perfect guy for it. Again, I think it's better than running back the same recycled, GMs. It reminds me a lot of, a team that's coming out of a rebuild, San Jose, when they were kind of just going into the rebuild phase. And this was even actually before they started the tear it down phase, which Vancouver's already kind of in. And, they grab a Mike Greer, who, was never a GM before. His brother, had some GM experience in the NFL and whatnot, but he was a guy with no resume for it. And so it was kind of one of those ones where it's like, well, why not? I mean,
Yeah.
He's got all the tools to be a good GM, and tearing it down is, way easier than trying to build it up. So by the time he's ready to start building it up, he's going to have, 3 years of experience under his belt, and be ready for that task. Because again, it's way harder to build a team up than tear it down. So you bring in Shane Doan, and it's, the first 2 to 3 years, just keep tearing it down and kind of building up your pool of prospects and your young players. And then by the time he's really kind of starting to be like, okay, like I understand exactly how everything works, and everything that goes into it, he's ready to build the team up. And
Right.
I think this is a absolutely would be a fantastic hire for the Canucks, because again, what's the alternative of you grab a bunch of these other recycled names that are out there, but these are all guys that are used to just building a team up. They're, being
Right.
buyers and going out and grabbing guys, and that, those tools are good, but it does Vancouver no good at this time, because again,
Right.
you're the furthest thing from a buyer right now. So
Yeah, I guess there's
I'm
not
all for
really
this.
there's not really any GMs currently out there that are notorious for being good at building up out of a rebuild, and that's it. Right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, there are some GMs that have kind of got out of a rebuild, but at a certain point they've just been making a competitive team over a few years. And like, even with coaches, we don't really see that much. I guess you could say like Tortorella, but he's more of a bring a fringe playoff team into the playoffs kind of guy. Like,
Yeah.
so that's still
No,
not
yeah,
even the same
absolutely.
thing. So you know what? Getting somebody new, it kind of works perfectly for it. And we don't even know if the Leafs have given them permission to talk to him yet. So I guess we'll wait and see on that. But it
Yeah.
sounds like they are prepared to look for a GM for a long time if they don't like the fit of anybody they find. I think they got to fire Jim Rutherford as well. I think
Yeah, I
him
imagine
being
that's next
him
on
being
the
president of hockey
list.
ops there is just it hasn't been going great. And I mean, you could trace it up to the top. Ideally you get a new owner, instead of the Aquilinis there, but that's not something you can fire him out of. That's if he decides to sell the team. So the next best thing we can hope for Canucks is they fire Rutherford and bring somebody new in and get a whole new president of hockey ops, GM, like fresh start for all of that.
Yeah, get a fresh start. Because again, any GM, whether they have experience or not, it's easy to tear it down. Like it's easy to sell because
It's not hard to lose.
yeah, you put what's out there, you create a bidding war, and you take the best offer, and if you don't like it, you hold out, and then you usually end up, getting a better offer or whatever. So, again, it's hard for GMs to be buyers, and you know when they're going all in, winning those deals sometimes, because we've seen a lot of times where teams buy, like Brad Treliving is a GM that is a guy who's always kind of been in a buyer's spot, and it 8 out of 10 times doesn't work for him. And we saw him try to be a selling guy, and for the most part, not bad. But again, the pieces that he's selling, it ties back to what he gave up for him, and then it doesn't look as good. So, yeah, for Vancouver, bring in a guy with no experience, let him learn on the fly while he's doing the easy part of the whole rebuild, and yeah, I don't think you can go wrong here. But yeah, Rutherford, needs to go. It needs to be a new core there of who's running the ship there. Again, because the whole thing kind of did start from the Pedersen Miller issues, and Rutherford didn't help with that one bit. So is that really a guy you kind of want to bring into the future when you're going to have a young team and whatnot? Probably not. So
no. On top of the fact that, like, and frankly, we know that people in the business probably see this as more of a plus than a minus, but like he's old, man. He's 77 years old. He could just retire.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. No,
he's
absolutely. Yeah.
so we'll see what happens
It's
regarding
it's one
that.
of those things like Lou Lamoriello, where lots of success before kind of carries them into you know still being in a role like this when they're late late 70s into their 80s and
Ken
whatnot. But
Holland.
eventually, it's like
Yeah.
it's time. Um, just because again the game's getting so different, and every team is starting to
It changes year by
get
year.
younger. Yeah.
Like what people are looking for year by year. Like it was not that long ago where everybody wanted the young, fast, skilled players. Everyone's looking for the next Braden Point type player, the next Cole
Hmm.
Caulfield, and on a dime, all of a sudden, everyone's looking for the next Tage Thompson. Everyone's looking for the next power forward. So
Yeah. Yeah. The Matthew Kachucks, right? Like that's you're absolutely right. So again, we'll see. Obviously, a big thing for Vancouver is hopefully winning. Well, not even really winning the draft lottery, just retaining your spot and getting that first overall pick.
yeah,
Um, and at bare minimum, if you are going to fall back, it's it's got to be like the Sharks last year. If you're going to fall back, you can only fall back one spot because you know getting that top 2 pick, I think, is very important for them
yeah. And this year in
because they need
particular,
that
the
forward.
first two picks are very important. I can't believe how much Keaton Verhoff has fallen off in people's favor. I'm interested to see where he ends up going in the draft. I still think he goes at least top 5.
I, I,
Um,
I do too, just because I think the scouts are just low on him because it's one of those ones of who, well, I guess even kind of like a Gavin McKenna at the start of the year where, some rankings were having him 2, 3, even as low as like 5 at some points, just because there was so much expectations put on them, going from dominating in the WHL to, going to the college level
right.
and not making an immediate impact and not dominating. And in most cases, it's unrealistic. There's not
Yeah.
a whole lot of guys who do that. So I'm still very high on kind of all the guys that were at the top at the beginning of the season because again, you know, oh maybe I just understand that there's growing pains to playing in to going up to a much more difficult league.
Yeah.
But
And an entirely different lifestyle of
yeah,
how
yeah,
you play when you're in that league, right? So
yeah,
it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. But I
absolutely.
think we're good to move on to some playoff talk.
Let's dive into the playoff action here. What do we got here? Since the last episode, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games. They've taken place. So the only series that, unfortunately, we won't really have anything to talk about is Carolina and Ottawa, as they've had a bit of a break here, going from Carolina to Ottawa. So I
Yeah.
don't have anything to really talk about with them, but a lot of the rest of these other series, lot of awesome, awesome games.
Do you mind
A
if
lot of
I
overtime
pick?
ones.
Do you mind if I pick the series to start with?
Yeah, but I've just got them. I just kind of listed them in order here, just because I was going through of what when they happen. But we can start anywhere. We can jump anywhere.
Right.
Yeah.
The one I would like to start with is Colorado beating the LA Kings 2-1 in overtime to take a commanding 2-0 series lead. I looked the other day, and usually I'm on the score is my app of choice to look at scores for the sports and see stats and all that. For whatever reason, I had another app open, or I was on a website like on my browser or something, and I just pulled it up, and I had to do a double take because imagine telling an Avs fan 20 plus years ago that in the year of 2026, they would score an overtime winner and it would be Waugh scoring on Forsberg. Um, I thought it was a really funny coincidence of the names involved in the overtime winner. Obviously, Patrick Waugh, Peter Forsberg, a lot of legends out of Colorado. But it was actually Anton Forsberg getting beaten in overtime from Nick Waugh.
Leafs
And
legend.
Leafs legend. And now for a good while there, it looked like the LA Kings were going to even this up 1-1 series. And if they did that, we have a series. 2-0 Colorado. It's pretty tough to imagine the Kings coming back and overcoming that to win the series.
Yeah, it really does. And again, I think the LA Kings have been good in this series, and
They have been.
I think given where this series at, because again, it's back-to-back 2-1 wins for Colorado, and I think it's more of a true showcase of this Kings team as opposed to struggles of Colorado, right? Because this is a Kings team that all year long it's been close games. It doesn't matter whether it's the worst teams in the league or the best. The Kings are always in a close games, and more often than not, it goes to overtime. And more often than not, just like this one, the Kings lose in overtime. That's been their the identity of this team, really. As shitty as it sounds to say, is losing in overtime. Yeah, I mean, down 2-0 again. It is kind of nice that you are at least going home, but to look at it now and you got to win 4 out of 5 against this Avs team. Yeah, it's
that's a long shot.
I mean, is it possible? Like, obviously, yes.
Now it's up to Colorado to collapse. Yeah. Like, it's not something where the Kings are not a team the caliber that it requires to just take over a series and win 4 of 5 games against a team like Colorado. Like,
not only that, when 4 of 5 games were in the first 2, the LA Kings only have 1 goal scorer. Artemi Panarin has both.
Yeah,
both goals for the LA Kings. So,
well, they got him to improve the offense.
Yeah, he's definitely doing his job, and it's definitely not due to lack of trying for others. It is just the Kings are kind of deciding that it's going to be a defensive battle, and Colorado's fine with that. To Colorado, again, at the end of the day, people are upset, being like, "Oh, Avs should be winning. This should be a 6-1 game. They should be rolling them." It's like, who cares? Colorado literally couldn't care less whether they win 6-0, whether they win 2-1, 3-1, 1-0. A win's a win in the playoffs.
Hell, at the end of the day, they'd probably rather win 2-1. Like, that's one of those ones where that's a playoff style win. Like, they love saying stuff like that.
30 games.
Like, if they win 6-1, a lot of people are going to be like, well, yeah, but they're not going to be able to just do that. It's the Kings. You can't do that against the Wild or the Stars. So, like,
it's really like there's no way the Avs can please people. Like, it's, again,
the
like
only
you said,
way
whether they win 6-1 or
a sweep. Yeah.
And even then people are just like, oh, well, of course they're going to sweep the Kings. But it's like, who fucking cares? Win's a win.
Did I ever send you their head coach? Is it Jim Hiller? Did I ever send you their head coach?
For the Kings, DJ Smith.
DJ Smith. Did I send you the clip of him talking about the game after game 1?
Oh, yeah.
Where he says that they're not a team that can consistently win scoring only 2 goals. And then the next game was also a 2-1 loss.
In a game where the Kings actually
looks like they
had the lead. They had it was a 0-0 game. They took the lead with like 6-ish minutes left. Avs come right back down, dominate, tie it up, and win it in overtime. Bit of a weird game, obviously, with the big delay of the glass shattering behind the Kings bench. Apparently, DJ Smith actually got cut.
I was gonna say I wouldn't be
Hearing it, like
surprised. It
he
fell
kind of got
directly
showered
on
with.
top of him. It
It
fell
was like
directly on
confetti,
him.
but just glass all over him.
It,
Um,
dude, and of course, it can't just be one crazy thing happening in the playoffs. No, it has to be a power play, and then a penalty gets called on the team on the power play, but it's actually a penalty shot. And then we see a great move by Byfield, an even better save from Wedgwood. And then after all that happens, then the glass randomly breaks behind the bench because the fans are just beating on the glass so hard.
mhm.
That
Yeah,
was
no, it's
absolutely bizarre, but
feel kind of bad for Wedgwood. Like, imagine like grinding to the NHL, all the work you put in just for people to chant wedgie. I feel like that's a bit
well, they can't
a
chant
bit
Wood
rough.
because that's for both goalies.
Woody, yeah. Well, and that nickname has to go to Blackwood because you can't you can't go the
Yeah.
opposite way. So you know it's it's like when it's like when White Cloud got traded to the Flames, and someone asked me, they're like, well, I guess you got to go Clouder because you can't just really chant Whitey during. So it's like, I mean, yeah. So it's like kind of sucks for Wedgwood that like you have to be called Wedgie because Woody has to go to Blackwood. It's just the way it has to be. Um,
that's tough.
it's it's the way it goes, man. But yeah, overall, like again, the series kind of is going kind of how I expected a little bit. Like I kind of figured that the Avs were gonna win and probably sweep. I think I actually did have them in 5, but I didn't feel like every game was gonna be this 5-0, 6-1 win. Like it was,
I
you know,
didn't think that. I did think it would be a little more out of reach for the Kings. I thought it would be, you know, 3-1, 4-1, 4-2, something like that. Like it
hmm
the fact that they've only been winning by 1 goal both games is in Colorado no less is, a testament to how good this defense and system really is in LA, but at a certain point, Panarin can't
yeah,
score all the goals
can't
and
score all.
yeah, you got to put up more than one in a game. And if you're not, you better be getting a shutout because otherwise you can't win.
Yeah. Last thing I'll say on this, I think it's a bit closer because when you look at years, past, and the only thing we can talk about years past is LA versus Edmonton. LA was always a good defensive team, and that's kind of the way that they wanted to control the series. Against Edmonton, you really couldn't because you give Edmonton, whenever the Kings gave Edmonton a power play, Edmonton was scoring because their power play in the playoffs seems to be on a completely different level. The
Yeah.
Avs power play is kind of ass. So when with LA and Edmonton, LA can kind of play that run and gun offense. Like they did it with Edmonton, kind of going back and forth, but they don't like to. With the Avs, I kind of thought maybe the Avs power play would start to cook here. Now they're being like playoffs told, just different, right? It would start to click. It's
Yeah.
not. So for LA, the fact that they don't have to worry about that, they can kind of keep it more of a we'll play defensive game, we'll try and squeeze out a 2-1 win, and that's the way we'll beat them. And it's obviously not going in their favor here. And I do think we are due for a Colorado game where it's like a 5-1, 6-2, like just a beat down, a statement game from
Yeah.
Colorado. But yeah, I got again, I don't think the Kings really deserve to be in the playoffs, but I do give them a lot of credit for hanging in here in these first 2 games. But again, you're not winning 4 out of 5. It's just not happening.
Yeah, that would be shocking to say the least. But I think with that we are good to move on to another series. I picked this one. Do you want to pick the next one?
Yeah, let's let's get it out of the way. Philadelphia Flyers beating the Pittsburgh Penguins 5-2 last night, and now holding a 3-0 series lead over the Penguins. I'm sorry, Pittsburgh. I'll
That
if
sucks, man.
Penguins fans want something to blame me. The last 3 years now, my bracket, my Eastern Conference pick, goes out round one. This will be the fourth year in a row. So
I've seen several people
that's
with
on me, I guess.
I've seen several people with having the Penguins going to the conference final or the cup final. Like I think a lot of people thought they were going to catch Magic this year, and man, they look so good down the stretch, and then just they just haven't done like anything in the series. They can't keep up defensively. They can't score goals. They're getting for a bunch of veterans, they're getting beat up.
They're getting bitched right now.
Like these guys are going up and freaking pie facing them, and they're just taking it, man. Like, is Rust like the only guy who had pushback in that game three there? Like, it it's unbelievable. And all of a sudden you have the disappearance of guys like Crosby. Malkin has, I think, one goal. Eric Carlson was amazing down the stretch. He hasn't been doing anything. Like all all the main guys that needed to drive the bus have just not been doing anything. Letang's been pretty brutal. Like,
But yeah, it's not good for Pittsburgh. Like again, it's you lose 3-2 in a game that again, I still think the Penguins got dominated in game one. You lose 3-0. You get out to a lead finally. Hey, you're up 1-0 in game three here. And before you know what was it? And 4-1.
I was gonna say they scored.
Or
At
no,
least
actually no,
three
it
in a
was
row.
3-2 or it was 3-1. Penguins scored. Okay, you're only down by one, but then you give the Flyers a power play, they go boom, and then it's 4-2 and then empty netter and
They had
yeah,
two really solid games out of Stuart Skinner, and they couldn't even get a 50-50. They couldn't even get a win and a loss out of that. And then they finally started scoring goals, and it caught up with them. Now they've had two games of good Stuart Skinner in the playoffs. Now they get the Edmonton Oilers special. They got a bad one where he let in some weaker ones, and that offset the game where they finally got the goal scoring. Like they're just not on the same page.
what's that?
It's
What do you
crazy.
mean they're getting the goal scoring? They only got two.
Yeah, I guess they only got two, but like,
Like it's
which is brutal
so
for a
far
team that
the
finished with
goal
second most
scoring.
goals in the regular season. They needed to overwhelm the Flyers with offense in this series, and they've done nothing of the sort.
Yeah, they've been outscored 11-4 through three games.
4 goals in
Um,
3 games is unacceptable in the playoffs. You can't. You'd
yeah,
be lucky to split the games 2-1 in that situation. But normally, yeah, you're going down 3-0.
yeah, and this is a Penguins team that you know we've seen that the offense can just hit that next level out of nowhere. I think about that one game against the Islanders where it Pittsburgh it was just like a switch flipped and the offense just steamrolled the Islanders to the point where it's like it kind of looked like the Islanders were gonna win, and then it's like, oh yeah, no, Pittsburgh's gonna run away with this, and they did. Um,
I still think that's
yeah,
fair. I don't think most people do, or at least they're not betting on it, which
it is there,
obviously
but they can't do it against the Flyers.
I think they can. There just haven't been. And obviously, the good money is not on the Penguins anymore. They're down 3-0. It would be a reverse sweep. But out of all the series over the years that I've seen go 3-0, this is one of the ones I feel has the best chances for a reverse sweep. I'm not saying it's going to happen,
Absolutely.
but like if they go out there and all of a sudden they are that team again, the Flyers might have an answer for it. But like I could see them rattling off 4 straight if they can get that goal scoring back. But
Hmm.
uh, they they're out of games. They're out of games where they can afford to not do that. They have to do that down the stretch fully. So it's not looking good for Penguins. A little bit of positive news on their front. Crosby did pick up an assist on one of the goals the other day, moving him into sole ownership possession of 5th all time in playoff points. He has been tied for the last 3 years with Jaromir Jagr, and he finally got back into the playoffs, got a point. He has passed him. The only people above him are 4 players, all from the Oilers dynasty in the 80s. Yari Curry, Wayne Gretzky, I think Mark Messier, and I think Glenn Anderson is the other guy.
Yeah, no,
But
that is huge for Crosby, and definitely well deserved of that, title now of being in the top 5 there. Yeah, I mean, for Pittsburgh, if they want to come back, the thing is, right, is they haven't had momentum all series, and they've had no confidence, and now it's pretty impossible to kind of have confidence right now when you are down 3-0. But this is a team that needs to play with momentum, needs to play with confidence, and I think Game 4, if Game 4 Flyers get the first goal, it's done. It's over for Pittsburgh. But like if Pittsburgh can get that first one, and it's also a little bit tough in Philly, they need to get to a lead, and they need to start playing with just some confidence and have fun. They're playing on their heels constantly, and
crowds, I feel like.
Yeah.
Like I feel like they're one of those teams where if you do score 1 or 2 quick, that shuts the crowd up hard. And like,
yeah.
But if you let them get that first goal, you're in trouble for it.
Yeah. Yeah, they really were letting the Flyers kind of whoop them, and the fans were feeding into that. And then at that point, it's like, it was tough for them. I'm very curious to see if a suspension or anything comes out for Travis Konechny. I know a lot of Flyers fans were chirping Rust and whatnot for, kind of dropping Konechny in that scrum. And I mean, Konechny did throw the elbow at him, so it's like understandable why Rust got pissed. And then at first, I didn't like Rust, when he was throwing punches at Konechny while he was down. But after seeing the replay, I mean, Konechny's kicking it at Rust with his skates, so yeah, I think Rust was kind of in the right to throw punches at a guy when he's down, when you've got skate blades being kicked at you. So I didn't see that. Probably nothing will happen, but I would kind of like to see the Department of Player Safety do something there, because again, that is like
I would like to hear a peep out of Department of Player Safety.
You can do, yeah.
Even if they don't suspend somebody, we haven't heard anybody even get a look at yet. And like, personally, I'm thinking of the play. We can maybe talk about it a bit later. Obviously, talk about the series later. But in the Dallas-Minnesota series, who was it who basically grabbed Harley in a headlock? And Foligno, and while they were at speed, he like pushed his head into the curved glass, the stanchion, and basically hit like some like face lock fucking head smash. Like it looked like a WWE finisher, and then turned around and drove him into the ice. Like, bro thinks he's Dean Ambrose. He can't be doing that.
Which we can get into. Yeah, Pittsburgh's in tough again. Like, if any team in this first round was to go down, 3-0 and pull off a reverse sweep, it would be the Penguins in this series. Again, is it likely? Not really. Actually, let me pull up what the
it's about as likely as a reverse sweep can feel, which is never much, right?
Yeah.
Like the most confident you could ever be in a reverse sweep is like 15% or something, because like it's just, how can you have that much confidence after a team loses 3 in a row that they're going to win 4 in a row?
Yeah, Penguins 8% chance probability to come back. So, I mean, there's a
is there a decimal? Is there a decimal? Is it a flat 8?
Yeah, just 8.
I can almost guarantee you they rounded down. There's no way it's not an 8.7% chance. The kid still got it. He's going. They decide to round down for no reason.
Yeah, I mean, not to take anything away from the Flyers. Like again,
No, they've been
they've dominated
incredible.
this series from start to beginning. So, and you know what? We'll probably be talking about them at least for a couple more weeks because again, I do imagine that they make it out of the first round here.
While we're on the topic of it, Trevor Zegras, Jamie Drysdale, Cutter Gauthier, and Ryan Poehling all scored their first career playoff goals this week.
Yep.
You can argue about who won certain trades or who let the best player go or whatever. So far, a lot of the deals between the Ducks and the Flyers are actually working out pretty well for both sides.
Both teams are benefiting. It's as easy as that, yeah.
Yeah, and who knows? Yep. Cutter Gauthier has been awesome, but maybe he doesn't do that in Philly. You know?
No, that is true. Where do you want to go to next? I took us to Philly.
I have one final thing about Philly, and then we can move on. Have you seen any of the antics that our favorite mascot around here, Gritty, has been up to?
Oh, Gritty, of course.
For those who haven't seen it, I implore you go look it up. It is a very funny clip. He comes out at some point during Game 3 and starts beating up another mascot in a penguin outfit. And he's just throwing punches at him, and then he kind of falls down, and clearly, like, the guy who was in the penguin suit, like, gets out of the suit. So Gritty, like, picks it up after the guy's kind of done, like, the escape from it, and then he, like, picks up the penguin over his head and just throws it off the balcony, and it just goes flying down to the bottom of the arena, and you can hear the audible gasp and yell in the arena. Because, you know, some people just don't know what's going on. He's throwing the penguin or whatever, and, like, that was just funny. That's
Gritty knows how to get fans involved and engaged.
Have you heard the story about them hiding his identity that was going around recently? So, the Flyers, for something, they went to Germany, I think, or maybe they had a global series game or something like that. They went somewhere as a team. They flew somewhere, and all the players, like, obviously somebody in the org has to know who the human of Gritty is. Somebody's getting a paycheck for it, but none of the players know who it is. And all the players were like, let's figure out who Gritty is. So they waited, and they found Gritty's bag at the airport, and they waited to see who would pick it up. And they waited for like an hour and a half, and then they just left because nobody would come and pick it up. It was the last bag on the carousel, and they just waited for like 40 minutes, and nobody would pick it up, and they had to leave.
You gotta keep the identity hidden.
Gritty was freaking hiding somewhere behind like a big newspaper, just waiting.
I respect that.
Dude's avoiding them like freaking Clark Kent. Respect.
Next series. Where do you want to jump to?
Let's talk about Dallas, Minnesota. We started talking about it a little bit. Might as well. Yeah. I think I think it's got to be the series so far with the highest amount of skill on display per game. Both teams look like $1 million so far. They've had some bad moments, you know. Quinn Hughes kind of given up on a bit of a puck rolling in, but also it was going slow, but also he could have got it. You know, the Ryan Hartman with the headlock that we were talking about. A lot of penalties in Game 3 in overtime last night.
Yes,
the refs were not afraid to like, for it being a playoff overtime game, usually the whistles kind of go in the pocket. No, they were right and ready to call whatever they needed to.
Yeah, but end of the game, Minnesota 7 power plays. You think that's a lot? The Dallas Stars 8.
I was gonna say, I'm curious what the other number is, because I do know early in the game everyone was like, "Wow, Minnesota's getting screwed." And then as soon as I tuned in, I was watching and I was like, "Are we sure Dallas isn't getting screwed?" Because it sure looks one-sided.
Which, again, it was a 7-7 split on both sides until Yurov had the delay of game puck over glass in double overtime, which is where Dallas scored the overtime winner. So
Oh,
it
I didn't
was
know it was on a
even.
delay of game.
So
Oh, that's
it
rough.
was even, and I was actually pretty glad that after kind of going online and chatting with some fans after the game and whatnot, no one was saying this was on the refs, at least from either Dallas or Minnesota side, which I do appreciate because that's just kind of the common
Yeah.
go-to for when your team loses in the playoffs. It's never the other team was the better team. It's always the refs screwed us. Well, your team got 5 power plays and they only got 1. Yeah, but that one was just fucking insane. Should never be called. It's like shut up. I just
Yeah.
I really do respect Minnesota fans for just being like, you know what? It was a close game, double overtime. They they beat us in the end. Like I really do respect that because I
Yeah.
just hate the common. It's always the refs.
Yeah.
We're
It
always
is interesting
playing. We're playing
because
2 teams out there. It's like
I was
shut
seeing
up.
a lot of both fans being like, the refs were awful tonight. I don't think I saw anyone saying they were sold the game to either side.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah.
people were saying halfway through that they were biased to Minnesota, but by the end that seemed to even out pretty good. So like by the end, nobody seemed to be favored. The game wasn't getting thrown one way or the other by the ref. Everyone just seemed to agree that the refs did not have a great game overall. Um,
Hmm.
there was some kind of crazy things that were getting let go, and then there was some things that weren't that bad that were getting called, and ugh,
Yeah.
it's not a super easy job, but also a below replacement level game for the refs. Uh,
Yeah. One thing.
as far as on ice action, though,
Yeah,
so
I'm
you go
seeing
ahead.
incredible. Getting treated to a double overtime where local time there in Minnesota ended just before 1 a.m. and the barn
Oh,
was still
they were a time
packed
zone
there.
ahead. I
So
knew it was close to midnight, but
I also give a lot of credit to all the fans there for sticking around and whatnot, and hopefully you're making it through the workday after. Okay, I'm starting to see a lot of
you
people
got to know in Minnesota
kind
when a
of
playoff game's going. Like you got to give your workers a little bit of leeway for that, right?
absolutely
They're a
right.
hockey
Like
they're a
you
hockey
got
state.
me. Um, a lot of people are starting to pick up on the narrative, kind of what you, not necessarily you feel or what, but kind of what you were kind of alluding to and kind of mentioning a bit when we did our playoff predictions, whatnot, and that's why Johnston. A lot of people are starting to be like, he's just a power play merchant, um, and whatnot. And my response to that, who fucking cares? Like
I
who
love that
gives a
take.
a,
I
a
love
shit?
that take.
Because if you're telling me
Someone's got to
any
score on the power
team,
play.
if you can snag a guy at 23rd overall, jumps into the league, has yet to miss a game in his career, and you've already got guys like
That's an
Matt
undersized
Duchene,
guy.
Rupe Hintz, Mikko Rantanen, Jason Robertson doing it 5-on-5 for you, the moment you get a power play, you can just throw Wyatt Johnston out there and uh, he'll he'll score for you. Again, in my opinion, outside of Connor McDavid, Wyatt Johnston's the best power play guy in the league this season. 27 power play goals, 42 power play points.
It's
And again,
ridiculous.
and again, that's on top of you can have Jason Robertson, Rantanen, Hintz, Duchene, Ben, Sagan when healthy. Those guys can go out and get you your 5-on-5 goals. But you get a power play. White Johnson's just a cheat code in front of the net, and in overtime, a very Joe Pavelski like tip. The guy he played with for his rookie years, the guy he lived with, learned a lot from Pavelski, and that was a
I was gonna
perfect
say
Joe
I don't think that's
Pavelski
a
tip in
coincidence.
in
That
overtime to win it. So if you want to
he
say
lived with
White Johnson's a
Pavelski and
power
Zach
play
Good.
merchant, go for it. I think people who say that are just dumb because every single one of them would take White Johnston on their team in a heartbeat because again he's just a cheat code out
You
there
know
on the
who
power play.
you
So
know who would kill to be as good on the power play as White Johnston? Nathan fucking McKinnon. How many power
yeah,
play points does he have on the season compared to White Johnston? It's probably not near as
um,
many. Like, I'm not saying he's a better player than Nathan McKinnon, obviously, but like some guys got the freaking sauce on the power play, and
McKinnon had 30.
special teams are important.
Dwight Johnston's 42.
42. That's 12 more than a guy very solidly in the Hart Trophy race. Like,
Mm,
Wyatt Johnston seems like one of those guys that since they have such a good and stacked and deep team in Dallas, I wouldn't be shocked if they run him on the third 5-on-5 line, but you can play him for damn near the whole 2 minutes every time you get a power play, and
mhm.
he can get his points there, and like, yeah,
Yeah,
any time you pull the goalie, he's the extra guy getting sent out. Like,
yeah,
you can find him some ice time elsewhere because he's so good at that man advantage situation. Like,
yeah. No, that's exactly it. Yeah, this series has been just as fantastic as we expect it to be. Obviously, again, talked last episode how we loved Minnesota really kind of laying the hammer down game one, and letting people know that, hey, you all think we're gonna lose in seven. Maybe change that to we might win in seven. And Dallas, good response game in game two, and then this was the anyone's game. I mean, again, double overtime.
yeah, total 50-50. Several power plays
Uh,
for both teams in overtime as well. Like,
yeah, yeah. Dallas had to kill off two, and then Minnesota had a really great
I
kill,
thought
and then
Minnesota's going to win for sure on the second power play, because that was like a minute or two after they killed off one earlier, and they had so many chances. I was like, dude, they look too dangerous. Something's got to give.
yeah,
And
Minnesota power plays where they really held the zone like the whole time, almost like
yeah, sure got the
they were.
crowd restless. I mean, at that point, it was probably 20, 30 minutes past midnight, but
Yeah.
they're possessing it for 40 seconds. They're getting some really good looks, but they haven't let the shot go yet. You could hear the crowd is starting to go, shoot the puck. And not long after the crowd started really yelling that, they took 3 shots in a row and lost possession. I think the home crowd got in their heads a little bit. I think they were cooking with tiring out the PK and everything, and I think they let the crowd do the
Yeah.
thinking instead of the players a little bit much there, but
Yeah.
and,
It was
any of those
tough
shots could have
for.
gone in either, and
Yeah.
then it's awesome. So,
Yeah, and very tough for Minnesota, obviously getting that many power plays and not having Matt Zuccarello in this game, who is on that top power play unit and is kind of the, you know, he's kind of the passer. He's a wizard when it comes to
underratedly,
dishing the puck, and I think they definitely were missing him a lot in
yeah,
this one. But again, on the flip side, Dallas has been doing this still without Rupe Hintz, so.
which is kind of
You
crazy.
can't really put injuries on this one, because both teams
Yeah.
are missing a key piece of their forward core.
Zuccarello underratedly is like only behind like Yager and Crosby at the moment for guys who are beating the absolute piss out of Father Time.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
my wife Kelsey has picked him 2 or 3 years
Oh,
in a
name
row in
drop.
fantasy, and I every single time I'm like, you took him too early. He's 38. He's not going to produce that much. Nope. Nope. Proves me wrong. Every year he goes out there and he's better than the draft stock she drafted him with. And I'm like,
Mhm.
you're
Yeah.
you're ancient. How are you doing this? You're not supposed to be Crosby level. We get why he's still doing it, but like Matt Zuccarello at 38, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like Steven Stamkos reached age 34 and everyone acted like he was a corpse. Like
I'm gonna drop
it's
something
it,
here for you, and I'll just let you interpret it whatever way you want, as I'll let everybody else.
I love
Plus
that.
minus so far in the playoffs. In a cluster with a bunch of guys tied for fifth, Joel Eriksson Ek. Here are the 3 players tied for second. Kirill Kaprizov, Matt Boldy, Brock Faber, all a +5. First,
Okay.
Quinn Hughes +6. So Minnesota's got the top 4 guys for plus minus, and Eriksson Ek just one below them, tied with a bunch of guys right below them.
So they've got
So it's telling
a
you
guy
their
at
big
6,
dogs are
guys at 5, and a guy at 4. Nobody else has got there. I mean,
yeah.
I know a lot of those guys had +3 from the first game, but I don't. It's so weird to me when people use that as like an argument against, like, oh yeah, without this one game where elite players were fucking elite, they wouldn't be as good. And it's like, okay, but if you take away
Yeah.
all of Gretzky's 5-point games, his points go down. What's the argument? They had a great game. Like,
Yeah.
their top guys are absolutely showing up, and
It's their depth, and that's
we kind of knew
exactly what
that's
we
how it was
talked
going to
about.
go for
Yeah.
Minnesota, and especially with the center depth. Uh, those lower down lines just aren't as strong as the top few, and those top lines have been incredible, but they got to find a way to keep the puck out of the back of the net
Yeah.
whenever their lower lines are out there.
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. And um yeah, again, this series is far from over. We'll be talking about this one right up until we get to that game 7 because it's going 7. We know that. You know that.
I could see
Everybody
a
knows
sneaky
that.
game
So
6, a game 6 elimination.
maybe,
I'm
but I'm
absolutely hoping
believing
for
in
7.
7.
I
I'm
sure hope
believing in
so.
7. All right, you picked Dallas, Minnesota, so I will choose where we go to next. And you know what? Fuck it.
Hit 'em
We've
with it.
put it off long enough. Let's talk about your boys in blue. Tampa Bay Lightning. 3-2 overtime win over the Montreal Canadiens. How
A
you feeling?
massive win. I was really starting to not feel great about our chances as soon as they went up 2-1. Um, we had to win game 2. We can't drop 2 at home and expect to win 4 of the next 5 with 3 of those coming in Bell Center. Like, uh, obviously you want to win game 1, didn't do that, but you have to win game 2. It's so hard to come back from that, and it's one of those things where I think the weakest, obviously barring injuries, which happen fairly frequently in playoffs, I think this Tampa team is going to be weakest in the first round. I think once a lot of
They
these
get better with
guys,
age.
yeah, they get settled into the playoff motion, they start getting used to it and playing that style, and they get into it, and that makes them better at it. But there's kind of that adjustment period from the regular season to the playoffs, and you know, if you're not fully in it yet in the first round and you get knocked out, there's no more time for you to adjust. You're out. So yeah, that was a really gutsy win. I mean, fuck's sake, Brandon Hagel. Like, what a game. First Gordie
Yeah.
Howe hat trick in Lightning history in the playoffs. Um, Also, great goal. The assist, he entirely created the goal for Kucherov, and he knocks
Kucherov scored?
Slavkovsky. Kucherov finally scores a goal, and then he freaking knocks Slavkovsky off his feet with
One
one punch.
punch.
Like, on top, I love when it's a Gordie Howe hat trick, but when you look at each individual part, they're all awesome. Like, some guys have like kind of a shitty wrestle match, and they end up getting a secondary assist, and then they get an empty netter, and it's like, oh, he had a Gordie Howe hat trick. Nah, this was a playoff Gordie Howe, and
This is a guy that's just fucking built for the playoffs.
yeah,
And in my opinion, again, hopefully Victor Hedman can come back. I don't know if people are just trying to create rumors, but I've seen people saying that retirement is maybe out there. I don't know on that, so I'm not even going to
people are just
speak
speculating.
to that. But whenever Victor Hedman's gone, Hagel is your clear choice for captain, and
People have been saying it.
And Tampa's got a lot of good options, but it's not even close. And I think that just speaks more to what Hagel does and what he's already done in this series.
There's basically only like two
like
options to me. It's either Hagel or it's Point. And it's not even who you like more, it's what you want in the captain. Do you want the impassioned captain who is going to be up in there constantly? Or do you want the calm captain to go settle it down and talk to the refs while everybody else loses their mind? And that's really
Mhm.
all it comes down to. And
Yeah. And it is worth noting that Chicago got fleeced in that deal despite getting 2 first-round picks. Um, Buffalo, who can maybe be a potential, matchup for Lightning if all things work out in the second round, drafted Hagel, didn't didn't want him, didn't sign him, let him go. Montreal brought him in for a
I was gonna
tryout,
say,
didn't like him, let him go. Like this is a guy that has really had to work his ass off and grind, and has never been given anything to get to this point. He's making the most of it. Been the most impactful player this series. The only other one that I think even comes close is Slavkovsky. It's
yeah.
been, yeah. I mean, there's like so many things you could say about what he's brought, but for Tampa Bay as a whole, you had to win this one, and Montreal, we knew wasn't going to make it easy. They didn't make it easy. Um, but once you kind of got to the overtime, it's like Tampa Bay really just put their foot on the gas, and
They flipped the switch in a way that I haven't seen in a couple of years. The way
again, it's
they
one of those.
possessed it in their zone for so long was like this feels close to the team we saw 5 years ago in the playoffs. Like
Mhm.
just that dogged forecheck. They finally, they would forecheck them for like a minute and a half. Their defense is scrambling, trying to get possession. Finally, our forwards change, and before their defense can even figure out what's going on, those 3 new forwards are back in there, and they turn the puck over and they get it again. Like the
Mhm.
forecheck was absolutely relentless. Like very similar to Florida's forecheck over the last couple of years. So I'm hoping to see more of that carry into Game 3. Um, JJ Moser, what a snipe for the win. Underrated move at the blue line to avoid Kirby Doc, who, oh, he had a rough game, and sounds like Habs fans were letting him know it on social media. Him and his
Yeah.
significant other having to. People are saying delete. I'm assuming they privated their accounts. Maybe they
No,
deleted them. I
they
don't. I
they
don't know.
deactivated their accounts. Like
Okay.
you search it up and it doesn't pop up. And again, I always say, and I'll continue to say it, Montreal does have the biggest fan base. It is the most passionate, but that is also kind of what makes it the worst, in my opinion, because
Yeah.
again, they throw
I
the
think it's
blame
fair to say they're the
to.
best and the worst. I think
Yeah,
that's genuinely both correct. They
yeah,
just
because
have the
they have
most
the largest
people
fan base. Yeah, so
and
you're
the most
you're
passionate,
bound to
which
have good
means
and bad.
their playoff atmosphere is going to be second to none. Um,
Yeah,
Positive.
yeah,
When a guy has a bad icing and then a bad defensive moment, you have enough psychos out there that are passionate enough to go harass him and his family. That's bad. So
it's very bad. And those fans act like it's like Montreal didn't get a single shot in overtime even. So it's like it's so ridiculous to blame one guy, even though it's like the whole team just got bent over for the entirety of overtime.
well, not to
Like
mention
straight up,
Josh Anderson is lucky he didn't get a penalty before that. Like the play,
yeah,
the whistle right before the puck drop, because when we scored, it was Sorelli wins the faceoff clean. Moser goes around the side, shoots, scores. Like it was like
rips and
4
scores.
seconds. Right before that, Moser was still on the ice. Uh, After the play, like 2 full seconds after, like 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, Anderson cross checks him in the ribs and he falls down and slides in the boards.
Sends
Like
him into the boards. I
I
think he
was
woke him up
surprised they
though.
didn't call that. It
He that
absolutely
and
did.
that's was the perfect way to end it with Moser getting it because again, I didn't like that one. Um,
I thought it was Anderson he blew by as well because Doc's
mm,
77, Anderson 17. So for a split second, I thought he burned him as well for the goal, which would have just been absolute chef's kiss. But um,
yeah,
Moser's been
two.
having a quiet series so far. He's one of those guys that in the regular season you couldn't pay me to not notice him several times a night. And now
Mhm,
and it was like I would notice him making plays constantly and then Raj would get it and he would score. And that would
yeah,
be their dynamic of that D pair. I've been noticing Radish constantly. That was like maybe the third time I even noticed Moser was on the ice that game. Like
He's just having to play a good defensive game right now.
he's playing good defensively. I think a little bit reduced role. I think he might have some type of lingering injury, but it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell when most guys at this point do. So it's what do you even compare it to?
Yeah, it's tough to say. Last thing I can kind of say on this is first of all, I didn't love John Cooper, who again, one of the best coaches in the game and has been for a while. Didn't love him putting Sabrin out there with 2 minutes left because you just knew Sabrin was going to do something dumb. Wasn't able to get that fight
sure
reaction
if he was out there,
Josh Anderson all game. So you kind of just knew eventually he was going to take a run at him. And I
just figured if he was out there, surely that meant Coop was like, okay, I get it, but like now's your time to just don't let anything up defensively. Be good, hard on the forecheck, play your role. Nope, he's going to interfere. And you can tell it's not the plan because it happens right in front of the Lightning bench. And when you watch the replay of the interference, you can see every fucking guy. You can see Gonsalves and Point specifically on the bench as soon as it happens. They're like looking around like, what are you fucking doing?
Yeah.
There's a minute 50 left in the game, and you just took a penalty that initially got called a 5-minute. They reduced it down to
but that was
2,
just so they could review
so
it.
they could review it. I was shocked that it was something that they thought was, usually it's like a charging or a boarding when they go the major so they can reduce it.
But usually when any guy kind of rolls around on the ice and is like, I'm injured, they'll call a 5 just so they can review it and properly see, what happened. Second thing I'll say, you might not like this, but I also think
somebody's got to argue the other side.
As a Tampa fan, I would be fine with it. This year in the playoffs, the Tampa Bay Lightning are the new Florida Panthers. And I'm not saying that as a bad thing because it means you're a good team, means you're winning. And I say that because Tampa's been a little bit dirty in this series. That's no secret. Not to the same levels of Florida, obviously, and what they've done, but
yeah,
maybe could get there. This series is far from over, but in the way of they're okay being the villains, and they're able to take this series against Montreal where Montreal might be the more skilled team. We know Tampa Bay can be a very skilled team, but Tampa Bay's got that Florida factor that Florida used to be so good against against a team like the Oilers, against a team like the Leafs, where Tampa can flip and be like, okay, Montreal, maybe you've got the more skill right now, but we're gonna bring this into just a brawl, just a fight. We're gonna throw you off your game by all these little extra antics and just pushing your buttons and getting you riled up and getting under your skin. And that's a huge part of why Tampa won this game, is because they kind of got Montreal off their game a bit by the extra antics. Like Montreal had all the momentum and Hagel was able to get Slavkovsky to fight him. Hagel one-punched him and it kind of flipped the script for Tampa, and they kind of were in the driver's seat that way. Like Slavkovsky, more often than not, wouldn't fight in that situation, but when you keep pushing a guy, eventually he's like, all right, you know what, fuck it. I'm going to kick your ass. And then
he got baited too. Like that's great because he's got to have 2 or 3 inches of height on Hagel. I think he's got like 20 some pounds on him. Like he's solidly bigger, but it's not like an insane mismatch, but it's enough. It's enough where Slavkovsky's like, okay, I should have this in the bag. He's clearly a guy like, I know I shouldn't fight, but like Hagel's a good guy to take off the ice, and like, come on, like I'm bigger than him. I should be able to beat him up. And he, that's definitely a learning moment of you got to know how to fight. And Hegel is
you got to know when to fight.
Smart fighter
too is a big thing. Not only knowing how to fight, but when. Yeah. Like I give. I saw a lot of Tampa Bay fans chirping Josh Anderson, but looking at it from a Montreal fan, I thought Josh Anderson played it perfectly.
I was going to say,
need to fight. There was no
the one reason they almost won the game
for him to.
You were saying that part of the reason we won is because we were playing Florida style, fuck around, get in their head. As soon as we're in their head, all of a sudden we swap to offense mode. they have like one guy on their team who knows how to do that. They have a couple guys who can stand up and fight, lay big hits, all that stuff. The only guy who knows how to really play that kind of game is Josh Anderson.
Yeah.
And he had a goal. He fucking was in rent free in Saburn's head all night.
All game.
And it threw Saburn's game off several times and ended up getting a penalty but what more is Josh Anderson's job than to get a greasy goal in the game and draw a penalty with a minute 50 left? Like that's exactly what he's there for. That's a fourth liner we're talking about. How impactful he was. He plays on the fourth line. Like the fact that he almost sunk that game for us is crazy.
And then Montreal, Hudson shot an inch away from going in, and that's the game. And it's like, Josh Anderson by not fighting drew the power play that almost won them the game. So I do give him a lot of credit for that. I know a lot of people.
He has no reason to fight Sabrin.
He doesn't.
The people who were mad are Tampa fans who wanted Anderson to fight Sabrin because it's a good trade for us.
Well, and because of the Anderson hit on whoever the defenseman was.
Yeah,
in game one.
Destu.
But again, like it's not like that was really a dirty play. It was just a very hard hit more than anything. I kind of feel like.
No, but I don't think.
Well, it was kind of on the line.
It was on the line, and at the end of the day, it's a guy who fucks around with our team a lot, and at the end of the day, I don't think they care if it was a clean hit. You hit our guy, he got injured. Fuck you, right?
Yeah,
that's how they usually look at it. So
I do give Josh Anderson a lot of credit because again,
yeah,
on a team that's got guys like, like who's been Montreal's best player overall this series, you can maybe say Dobej. I'd probably still say Slavkovsky. Who's been the most impactful player? It's Josh Anderson. I mean, 2 goals already.
He's right up there for sure.
Did have the 1 goal that was taken back, but then drawing the penalties and getting heads. Like, he's doing everything that is asked out of a guy like him. So I do got to tip my cap to him. But this series overall has been absolutely fantastic. Both teams have looked really great at their highest moments, and even at their lowest moments haven't even looked bad. It's just 2 really good teams that don't like each other, and 2 overtime games. This series is going to be a battle.
I'm really hoping that game is a turning point for Tampa. They got a lot of stuff off their back. There was starting to be a lot of different narratives building up. Kucherov has no goals in, 14, 15 games. Vasilevsky hasn't been having a lot of great starts over the past 3 postseasons now. We had 1 home win in our last 11 playoff home games or something like that. Like there was all these stats piling up, and we got a home win. Vasi had a great game and got a win. Kuch had a great tying goal. Like it hopefully squashed a lot of those. Kind of everyone can hold their stick a little bit less tight and hopefully play a little more free going forward. So
no, absolutely. All right. Hopping on a plane, where are we off to next?
We are off to Utah. Let's talk about Utah and Vegas.
Well, actually, technically Vegas, but yes, the Vegas Golden Knights losing 3-2 to the Utah Mammoth. We got a 1-1 series tie, and we got it heading to Utah here, where if anyone cares, if anyone saw, Utah owner Ryan Smith put out a little thing on Twitter. First of all, being like, hey, if you didn't get to go to any Mammoth game this year, you want to see a playoff game, he was offering some spots in his suite, which is always awesome. And
dude just wants his team to do well. It's so refreshing.
Him and the Utah Mammoth put out a thing. I believe it's on Friday. Anyone who brings a Vegas Golden Knights jersey to the Utah Mammoth team shop can exchange it for a brand new Utah Mammoth jersey, which is pretty cool. So I've already seen a lot of Utah fans going on Facebook Marketplace and buying Vegas Golden Knights jerseys for cheap, and they're going to
I
go and
was gonna
trade it
say,
for
I was gonna
new
say, can you get
Mammoth
a shitty
jersey.
knockoff?
Yeah,
Like,
so they're
like
basically just
how hard are they
buying
checking these jerseys,
buying
right?
Golden Knights jerseys to get them destroyed, so they can get a brand new Utah jersey, and I think that's awesome. Um, yeah, for this series, Utah, they're right back in it. It's a 3-2 game. It's been a close battle between these teams. It's starting to feel like a real rivalry, and
Do you
yeah, it was awesome.
feel do you feel badly about any of your I guess other than Pittsburgh, obviously. Do you feel bad about any of your other picks to win the series so far? Or any of your predictions?
Well, I mean, obviously, I feel really fucking awful about picking Pittsburgh and Ottawa. Um,
Ottawa is the
but
other one. Fair.
yeah,
This is other than Pittsburgh, this is the only other one that I regret which way I went on it. I went head over heart on this one. I believe I took Vegas in 7 or 6 games.
I
Um,
took Vegas in 7.
I wish I took Utah in 7. I think Utah is going to win this series. I and you know what? Maybe it's still a heart over head thing, but that's a fun team to watch. They're really good. They're really skilled. They got all these young, fast players that are just so entertaining to watch. Like, man, Logan Cooley, Dylan Genther, Clayton Keller, like those are some fun ass players to watch play. And they carved up the Vegas defense the other night to tie the series up. They Man, going out there and Genther just turning on the Jets and just blowing past them, taking a shot for a rebound. Cooley comes in, cleans it up amidst all their defensemen. Like, man, they looked really good, and Vegas was pushing for that for that tying goal with the net empty, and Utah bending but not breaking. They held it for a good 2 minutes in the zone with the man advantage against. That was that was a gutsy performance. A lot of good blocks in there. I'm a big fan of this Utah team. I think that defense core as well. Sergachev, Marino, Uyghur, Sean Dursey. That's a really good top 4.
It is a good talk. I'm just trying to wrap. I mean, yeah, Utah's good last game, but like I don't think, and again, I don't even like Vegas, but I don't think I can get on the wagon of being like Utah was dominating them and the way better team. Like again, there's a reason that we both predicted it to go 7, and kind of
Yeah.
the only reason I went with Vegas is again, you know, kind of waiting for a guy like Jack Eichel to, you know, wake up a bit more. This is a guy that people have been telling me he's a top 10 player in the league, and I would like to see it, but
So far a little pedestrian.
where I haven't been given an ounce of proof ever to consider that kind of statement valid, and that's a guy that they're going to heavily rely on. Wanting a bit more out of Mitch Marner. Carter Hart, again, I think he's been doing his job. Again, this Vegas team needs to get back to their old ways, and maybe it's got a little bit something to do with the fact that it's the core that they've kind of believed in and trust, and they're moving on from them. They're kind of, it's you let Marchessault go, William Karlsson kind of getting his role diminished. You don't have Pietrangelo anymore. Riley Smith you threw away and then brought him back when things got tough because you realized you kind of needed him. Mackenzie Weegar,
Underratedly,
great
Chandler
goal scored
Stevenson.
by
Big loss.
Mackenzie Weegar, great goal scored by his former teammate Rasmus Anderson, putting it into his own net, which was huge for Utah because at that moment, Vegas had the 1-0 lead, was pushing pretty good, and that kind of took the wind out of their sails a little bit.
Yeah, Vegas fans, when they were hoping for Anderson scoring a big goal, they were probably hoping it was assisted by Hannafin, not him assisting on a goal for Uyghur
Yeah.
instead. Um,
Yeah.
That was a rough one too, because it didn't just go off of him. He like kicked it into his net too. I
Yeah,
think he
it
was
was.
trying to nudge it to Hart so that he could cover it, and Hart was just not able to process it fast enough, and you can't put that on the goalie. I mean, the guy kicked in his own
Yeah,
net.
no.
What can you do?
Um,
That's rough.
and with Vegas again, it's you're kind of looking at it, and guys you rely so heavily on are, is it father time? Is it just a cold streak? Like Tomas Hertl, who great player. They gave up one of their best prospects in a first for him and all that. His last goal, March 4th.
It's a little
And
bit of
went on a
time.
span of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Won 11 games without a point, got an assist.
Oh,
Went
without a
3
point.
games without a point. To us, like he's just gone cold. And this is a guy that they rely on a lot for
Is he still
their
playing with
offense.
Marner?
I'm not even sure actually. Let me
There's no
pull it
way.
up.
There's no
What we're
way he's
running. I
playing with
don't
Marner
believe
or
so.
Eichel. He can't be playing with either of those guys
He.
and not be scoring.
Oh yeah, because they're still running the Mitch Marner experiment. Hurdles with Riley Smith and Keegan Colasar. Keegan Colasar on your third line is not a recipe for success. Utah's a good team. Vegas is a good team. Again, a series that's gonna go the distance because Vegas is gonna get those games where the big dogs are gonna eat. But Utah's
Yeah.
also shown very early in this series that they've already identified weaknesses Vegas has. They can expose them. Can Vegas clean that up? Tough to say because Utah's just that much younger and faster. So it can be tough to make those adjustments mid-series, but again, I do think Torts will make a little bit of magic happen with Vegas, but to me it's just a really even series, and I don't know what way it's gonna go. I'm just looking forward to that first game in Delta Center tomorrow night, or the day that this episode comes out. Seeing Utah Mammoth hockey.
Yeah.
In Utah.
We're gonna see the playoff Mammoth. And
yeah, the Mamboni.
one guy that I do think has been underratedly great so far this series, Ivan Barbashev. People don't include him as much as they should when they talk about the core of players in Vegas. Obviously they're going to talk about Eichel, Marner, Mark Stone's been there, but like Barbashev is a very key part to that top line, and he's come in clutch for them a couple times already. And I think he's one of those names you're going to have to watch out for on the score sheet for the rest of the series. But
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think I think it's going to come down to goaltending, and that's why I wish I could change my answer to Utah. I just have a hard time believing they're going to get solid goaltending all throughout the series. They had problems getting good goaltending basically all year, and I just think they've got a couple too many
y-
great shooters on Utah.
You're acting like Carter Hart's been bad this series.
Not this series, but this
He's put up a
season.
939 and then a 931 so far in their 2 games.
I just don't think it's going to be sustainable. I think that he hasn't done that all season. I think he's put together 2 really strong games, and they came out 1 for 1 on them. And I think he's due for a couple, 875s.
Okay, fair
Where
enough.
I don't think he's going to implode. Like, I don't think it's going to be brutal, but I think, 4 goals on 26 shots. Maybe a couple are on the power play, something, but like they just have not had consistent goaltending at all this entire season, and
But
I
here's the
just don't
thing.
know if he can keep it up for 7 games.
But here's the thing. Carter Hart this season hasn't been very great, but obviously did miss a lot of time with injuries. First game back from injury, had a 864. First game back in 3 months. Not going to put a lot of stock into that.
No.
And then Tortorella comes in. 969 against Edmonton, a 909 against Vancouver, a 938 against Colorado, a 913 against Winnipeg, 957 against Seattle, 939 against Utah, and then a 931 against Utah. So since coming back from injury and with, Tortorella, former coach, coming in, been fucking good.
Really well.
He's been really good. His worst game is a 909 against Vancouver, and he only faced 11 shots. So,
Yeah, I do think it's more of, I mean, obviously he's just playing well. There's no two ways around that. But I think a lot of it is just that entire team bump that you get with a new coach. I think everyone's playing harder down the stretch. Everyone's playing better defense, especially for Torts. I think everyone's just putting in extra, and when you get to the playoffs where every team's putting in extra, I think it will start evening out a bit.
And I think home ice advantage. Well, home ice is more important for Utah. I think just being in their barn and how insane it's going to be, I think is definitely going to be more of a boost for them than it's a boost for Vegas when they're at home.
That sounds crazy to say, but I agree. Like,
that's not wrong.
Yeah, they're gonna have the home crowd there. I hope it gets loud in there. I hope that they go crazy for it, and they generally do. It's really fun to see from a new franchise how quickly they've just developed a great fan base, doing things like trading in your Vegas jersey for a Mammoth jersey, the bad visibility but like hyper cheap seats. Like the amount of stuff they've done
beers,
is just
hot dogs.
Yeah, like half the tickets in the entire arena come with a voucher for a free water bottle and hot dog on top of being cheaper. Like for the prices we're paying for these games nowadays, damn near every ticket should come with a free water or beer and a free hot dog. Like
like you ever see those things when you're like, you're just scrolling on like Instagram or whatever, and there's always those things of like, oh, if you won $5 billion, what would you do? And all these people are like, oh, I'd travel, I would do this. My thing is just like, I would just fucking buy an NHL franchise and run it the way
you
Ryan
have
Smith
this
is doing.
Okay, you're having the same thoughts when you're taking a shower that I do. It's like when I win the lottery, well, I would find the most cost-effective team with a good future that I could in the NHL, and I would think about putting somebody smart in a GM position. I would be a GM for a bit, be bad at it, then hire somebody good. Like,
yeah, it's like the way he's running is just so fun. It's got to be such a treat for Mammoth fans. We are an hour 23 in those, so we should move on. We still got 2 more series here to discuss. Let's go to Boston. Let's go to
Boston.
Buffalo. Boston 4-2 win over Buffalo. Series is tied up 1-1 heading into TD Garden.
We talked about it. I asked you last episode, how long does it take before Buffalo fans start to get a little impatient? We saw them leave the ice after, was it the first or second period where it was 4-0? Was it the second period, I think?
It was 3-0 after the second.
3-0 after the second? There was a good amount of boos at the end of that period.
Mm-hmm.
People were not happy with their performance out of the Sabres. And, obviously they're happy to just be there back in the playoffs, but they shouldn't really be happy with what they got. Those probably not cheap tickets to go watch them get beat up like that. So
the most expensive first round tickets right now. Yeah, I got to admit,
crazy when
I don't.
The Habs are in there. Like,
yeah, I do got to admit though. Yeah, I don't love it for Buffalo. Obviously, great comeback game 1, but again, like you did go down 2-0. You went down 4-0 in this one. You did make it 4-2, but you can't keep falling behind every game. You're not gonna win a 7-game series where all 4 of your wins are comeback wins. Like that's not gonna happen. And definitely a tough game. Boston gets the 1-0 lead. Victor Arvidsson, the first of his 2 goals. Crazy that Edmonton didn't like this guy. But like you're only down 1-0, 3/4 of the way through the second, and then it's that Morgan Geekie, that floaty backhand that finds its way in, and once that went in, it's like Boston's winning. At that point, it's
what a gift. What a way to suck the air out of such an insane atmosphere in Buffalo. That just how does that not deflate a crowd? How could it not?
Yeah.
In the playoffs, you're already down by a goal, and now you're down by 2, and it was happened like that. Oh,
and then like a minute and a half later, Pavel Zacha gets one on the power play, and it's like, again, people were saying
UPL, because I know Alex Lyon got some.
No, they pulled UPL when Arvidsson scored 16 seconds into the third. So that's also back-to-back games where Boston comes out and immediately gets one to start the third period.
That's such a Boston thing. They've been doing that for decades. They're so good at getting a goal on that first shift of the period. Like, that's one of those things that just followed the culture, no matter how much turnover they have. And UPL got pulled, and from what I am seeing, it is projected that Alex Lyon starts game 3. So we're already on game 3, and they don't know who the starter is. Like, they've got 2 capable goalies there, but not knowing who's your guy is never good.
It's a bit worrisome
to find out in the middle of the playoffs.
And again, it is a 1-1 series, but when you think about it, Buffalo's got 6 goals in this series. All 6 have been scored in the final 10 minutes of the third. Doing better, the final 8 minutes of the third.
They didn't even have one before that point in game 1?
No first period goals, no second period goals, none in the first half of the third period, all in the final 8 minutes of regulation is where they got all 6.
Yeah. And what do you think Boston does with that knowledge? Are they which obviously they're going to try and do both, but which are they leaning to more? We got to figure out how to shut them down in the final 8? Or are they sitting there going, how about we put ourselves up by fucking 5 in the first 40 minutes, and then it doesn't matter how good they are? They're probably leaning more that way. Let's play a great first 40 and make it easier on the way out.
Yeah.
Like, at a certain point, if you're up by 4, it's an insane comeback in the final 6 minutes to score 3 goals. If the other team has 4, that's not enough. So it is not a recipe for success to not score for 50 minutes and then do all the work at the end. Like, they're procrastinating like me in high school. Like, that's just ridiculous.
You're absolutely right. And it was a good pushback by Buffalo in the third.
It was.
Outshot Boston 20-8. Buffalo's power play was 0 for 5. Boston's was 1 for 5. So, would like to see Buffalo's power play a bit better. But this is a Boston team that
power plays, no goals is tough.
Is rough. This is a Boston team that can hang with Buffalo, though. They just because they're a wild card team doesn't mean they weren't a good ass team in the regular season. They were just in a very good division. Yeah, actually, I think so.
Like,
I think by the end eighth
it's
in the league.
Mess. It's a mess over here in the Atlantic.
100 points, and
that's a real good wild card team. Congrats on winning the division.
Yeah, like again for Buffalo, the only thing I could say is it's awesome that you can have these comeback moments because you're not gonna steamroll every game that you win. Like, you're gonna have to have some come from behind, some gritty wins. They proved that in game 1. But game 2, it's now like this can't become a pattern where you put yourself in a hole and you try to scramble and dig your way out of it in the final 8 minutes.
Doesn't even work for McDavid in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Like, you can do it sometimes, but you can't. That can't be the game plan. And
If you're
it's only
Boston, you
two.
gotta
It's only two
tighten up
games,
a
but
bit.
man, that's crazy that they haven't gotten a single goal in the first 50 minutes of either game. Like that's
With that home crowd too.
with that home
Like
crowd.
you get a first period goal to take a 1-0 lead, you might go on to win 7-0
that
with how
buries
fired
them.
up it's going to be.
That
Yeah.
buries them. Like, I can't believe they didn't score on that first shift, like, of them being in the playoffs. Like that's crazy. The Boston Bruins, I definitely think they need to find some point production and goal scoring outside their top line. Pasternak and Geeky have been great in these 2 games. Past is already up to 5 points. Geeky has 4 points. But then it drops down. Arvidsson, Zaka, Middlestat, Aspero all have 2. A couple guys with 1. Looks like a bunch of assists there, except for the Lindholm goal.
But in game 2, I mean, it was, well, I mean, Zaka's was a power play goal, but Arvidsson got 2 goals assisted by Middlestat and Aspinall. So that line contributed too.
It's the top 6. It's not just the top line, but
top 6. Okay, fair.
You need to see, even if it's a goal and 2 secondary assists or whatever for defensemen, like you need to see a little bit of production out of a Fraser Mitten, Mason Lohrei down there. Like you gotta get a little bit extra scoring because this is a very good Sabres team, and you can't win. You can't count for sure that Pasternak's going to stay at over 2 points per game for the series.
And I will say
he might fuck around and do it, but you can't count on it. That can't be the plan.
Yeah, for Boss fans, like hoping to get more production out of your bottom 6, sure. Offensive production out of your defense, I wouldn't even worry about because their job is to contain this Sabres offense. That is their only thing. If they get an assist here, if they get a goal here, awesome, great. That's just
gravy.
Great. It's just a freebie. But their job is to just shut down the Sabres offense. And I mean, for the first 50 minutes of games, they do a fucking great job at it. They just need to tighten up in those final 10 minutes. And like, this very easily could have been a 2-3-0 win for Boston game 1, 4-0 win game 2. Could have just as easily been that. And the whole narrative around this series is completely changed. Because right now, for me, I picked Buffalo in 6, I think. This is a toss-up. This is a 50-50 at this point for me because
it sure feels like a 50-50.
Seen some good and bad from both teams that makes me be like, well, I really like this for Boston, but then I'm like, I really like this for Buffalo.
Very similar to Utah Vegas. Sure. I'm thinking it's a lot of even stuff around. But at the end of the day, one team's got the clear advantage in the crease. They don't know
where Boston's at.
They don't know who's the starter in Buffalo, and Swayman has been great. He's been very good. So and he's a guy who in the past has put up like really good playoff numbers. So if he can continue to do that, he's a guy who can be solid. Like when they beat Toronto in the playoffs, one of the more recent times, I think he ended that series with like a 957 or something. Like, am I crazy? I think he split starts with Ullmark back then, but like in like 3 or 4 games, he had like a 950. Like it was something ridiculous. So if you let him get hot, it's going to be a tough go.
And the last series, the last game to go over, the Anaheim Ducks taking down Edmonton 6-4 to tie the series up at 1-1 going back to Anaheim. This Ducks team can hang. This Ducks team can...
There's so many things to take from these first 2 games in this series.
Yeah.
I don't know what's more shocking. The fact that McDavid has not scored a single point yet, unless you want to count the direct assist on the Ducks goal to gain the lead last night.
The Ducks shorthanded goal, yeah.
Yeah, the shorty. But is that more shocking, or the fact that Edmonton's still losing the same way they normally do? They got
Mhm.
outgunned when scoring a bunch of goals. They got 4 goals without McDavid. Like,
Without
they've
Bouchard.
without Bouchard getting a point. And, like, how many goals did what was the score of the first game?
4-3, I
4-3?
believe.
That's 2 games in a row with 4 goals and none from McDavid. If McDavid can turn it on, this is a 5 or 6 goal team. And obviously that's not gonna happen every night, but you know that you can get it from other guys.
Mm.
Like, I
Yeah.
were you shocked that Edmonton just kind of rolled over and took the L at the end? They didn't even try, like, they literally didn't have
Not
McDavid out there
really.
for the final minute and a half.
So
McDavid was on the bench the whole time. They didn't even
Edmonton's
like, that's
power
crazy.
play is 0 for 6 in the series so far.
That's
0
not
for
gonna hold up.
6. Anaheim's is what would that be? That would be 3 for 5. This is a Ducks power play. Wasn't very good. If I scroll up here to when we did our thing, the X factor we're talking about, Edmonton's got the number 1 power play in the league versus Anaheim's 25th penalty kill. Anaheim had a bad power play. Edmonton had a okay penalty kill. That's totally flipped. For last night, no, I wasn't totally surprised because McDavid's hurt. He's injured. He got tangled up there and was never the same the rest of the game. And I think at that point you're down by 2 with a
How
minute
bad did
20 left.
how bad did it look for those who didn't see?
It
Because
it
I didn't end up seeing it.
it didn't even look that bad, but it's one of those ones where you can tell it was just enough that it tweaked something.
I mean, I was just saying it. There's gotta be a reason he wasn't on the ice in the final minute and a half there.
Which is exactly why Edmonton kind of realized, you know what,
Because
we're
that
we're
whole
down by
arena
2.
thought they could tie it up. I have a you know, not a full respect for him because they are a bit of a crazy fan base, but the Edmonton Oilers faithful, they were down by 2 after the empty netter with a minute left. There was you probably single digit amount of people you could see on the broadcast who were leaving early. That place was staying till the very end of the game
Yeah,
because
because how else are they going to fight
that
each other after the game?
this is a team that can absolutely go bang bang. Now we're going to
Hmm.
OT. And they've done it so many
Well,
times that they have faith that that's very
it,
possible.
it,
So
it is
I
that
love seeing
McDavid
that, but
injury, I think, though, is at that point, it's why there's no point risking it. It's like, you know what, we got
and
to take this L and
yeah,
we got to hope that he's okay. And because, the alternative is, hey, maybe you go out there and you try and push back and, come back from down by 2 with a minute left to win. McDavid goes for a scramble in front of the net, gets hurt even more, is done. And then
obviously
it
curtains.
wraps, right? So
Yeah,
yeah, it kind of felt like one of those ones where I kind of sat there and was like, shit, he's on the bench. Because I did lose a parlay. I had 3 legs from every single game. Everything hit. The one thing that missed was a McDavid point, which I don't even know why I put on there because it didn't do anything. It didn't boost
it didn't even
any
change boost
value
the
really
odds.
because it was like minus 500 for a point. So I'm like,
Yeah,
look, whatever, sucks to be me. But yeah, he was on the bench. I was like, you know what, it makes sense. He clearly was hurting, wasn't right.
oh,
You just gotta take your L like a good boy if you're Edmonton in this one. And again, like fucking 6 goals for Anaheim though. I mean, 5 are
is
we're with the
Anaheim going to
goalie
win
in
this
net.
series? Do you think
Um,
Anaheim's going to win? I'm
so
I'm a lot closer to it than I was. Like, if McDavid's injured, we don't know how bad, but he's clearly not 100%.
Dreisaitl's
Drysaitel,
not
we know
100%,
isn't.
but
Like, they
Draisaitl
held him
is
off till game
producing.
1.
Draisaitl is still producing though, which is something.
Sure, but he
Um,
is injured, and, like,
yeah, absolutely,
those
absolutely.
are your 2 guys. That's your meal ticket. They have to the team is built and designed so that they can carry the rest of the team. Like, they're, them and
Yeah.
Bouchard, like, that
I'll
with
throw
both
this
of
out
them
here
being
for you.
hurt, it's 1-1. This other team can score. they're not getting the goaltending, and we figured that would be the case.
Yeah.
There's a lot of reason for concern.
Zach Hyman played 21:06 last night. He had 1 goal, was a -3. McDavid played 24:07. Obviously, no goals, no assists, was a -2. Evan Bouchard played 26:16, was a -2, no goals, no assist. And Evan Bouchard was out there for 5 of the Ducks' goals against, which obviously isn't great. It makes you wonder with Edmonton, and that's
Put a bet
something
in for him
I,
to get like
you know,
4 points next game. He had a bad
it's
game. He's going to
something
bring it back.
it's something I mentioned when we were going through it is, we looked at Florida and Florida went to 3 straight cup finals and finally hit their wall with injuries and whatnot. You almost got to start wondering if it's catching up to Edmonton.
Absolutely.
If the
Tampa's
short
still
summers,
feeling the effects of it,
the long
of going to
playoff
3
runs,
straight finals, and that the final one we went to was 3 or 4 years ago. Like,
Mhm.
and we
Yeah.
still have guys that are clearly just like, that's just a lot of extra mileage, and the games are harder too. Like, it's
Yeah.
it's not easy. It's not easy. It's so brutal that they have all that extra mileage on so many core guys without getting one of those cups.
Yeah. I mean,
This
and it's
always
not
did
even to take
kind of feel
anything
like a
away
bit of a
from.
kind of a retool's not the right word because it puts a different vision in their head, but like a rebound year for Edmonton. It always kind of felt like this
Mhm.
year was going to be like they'll try, but what can you do? But they've got some good stuff coming up for next year.
Do they?
Savoy's looked good. They've got bad numbers coming off the books. Like they'll be able to hire some new guys. Hopefully, they're not an embarrassment of bad choices like they have been or recent. So
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, it's not to take anything away from Anaheim, obviously.
Oh no,
Cutter,
no,
Cutter Gauthier,
they were incredible.
2 goals, 1 assist. Ryan Paling, great shorthanded goal, gets the empty netter to ice it. Alex Killorn, goal and 2 assists. Jacob Trouba getting one from the point. Jackson Lacombe, 3 assists. Troy Terry, 1 assist, and that's it. Those are all the guys that got a point in this game between their 6 goals.
Wow.
And then you look at Edmonton. They had, over half their team had a point. So the Ducks are getting games where they're just getting a few guys that really pop off, and everybody else is kind of doing their job to, shut down Bouchard, shut down McDavid. Again, you tell me in a playoff game, Connor McDavid plays almost 25 minutes and
-2,
not a
0
single
points.
point.
How many shots
Nothing
did
on
he
the
have?
power play is he
Was
had
he
4.
getting okay? So he's getting some on net, but like,
Although all 4 were after the first period. He had 4 in the first, and none after that.
well, yeah,
Both teams do look good. It really just comes down to
yeah.
Anaheim's big dogs have shown up back-to-back games. For Edmonton, Draisaitl has shown up back-to-back games, but you haven't got anything from McDavid and Bouchard, and that's not something we're used to. It's not something we've ever expected to see.
No, like, yeah.
It's a little bit worrisome.
After game one, we were talking about, damn, they won a game without McDavid scoring a point, first time all year, and then the first 2 games of the playoffs, he has no points. Like, you're lucky they won one, but that's the first time they've done it all year. They're not going to do it most nights.
At this
So
point, the first 2 games against Anaheim, McDavid had 7 points, Draisaitl had 8, Bouchard had 6. Like,
he'd have 11 points if this was against the Kings. Like,
yeah.
he's getting shut down. Like, it's
And I did kind of feel that way when I saw Edmonton fans celebrating when we knew that it wasn't going to be Edmonton LA. They're like, finally, we don't have to play the Kings. I'm like,
why would
wouldn't
they
you
not want
rather
that?
have the Kings? Yeah. They're like,
I
oh,
guess they might want
so
more
tired
exciting
of beating
hockey,
them
but like,
every year.
it's a
LA's
free
a free win.
Not only is it a free ticket out of the first round, it's a free ticket into the record books. Those guys have farmed up points on those
Mm.
guys. Like Draisaitl's got 2.4 points per game in his career in the playoffs against the Kings. Like,
Yeah.
it also just like pads the stats too. Like that's how you get a guy winning the Conn Smythe even if you don't have a cup.
Yeah.
So
I do got to say though, this series has been uh, one of the more entertaining ones because it is just so different from every other series. It is just run and gun offense, and both teams just trading
yeah,
opportunities and a lot of high end skill, good young talent. Obviously, the best player in the league, Connor McDavid. Even if he's not getting points, he's still noticeable out there and
he's still the most
creating
noticeable guy on the
offense.
ice.
Yeah,
Like it's impossible not to. Everything flows through him, even if it doesn't end up in the back of the net.
but yeah, I don't think this is a guaranteed win for the Oilers like some people were saying.
Yeah,
I think this is
yeah.
a series that, yeah, it's going to be a battle,
I think
an
there's some
offensive battle,
chances
but
that the Ducks might fuck up a couple of brackets with this.
and you know
And
what?
it's
If
easy
they
to
do,
it's
my
easy to
bracket's already cooked,
overreact.
so
It's easy to
yeah.
overreact after 2 games. I don't think either of us would be shocked if McDavid put up 5 points, literally 5
Oh,
points next game. We'd be like, "Oh, there he is."
yeah,
Like that's the
he's
bar
here.
that is there. That's the bar
Yep.
that's been set. Remember how insanely, overwhelmingly shocked we were when he signed for only the paltry 12.5 million extension? It
Yeah.
immediately 12.5 million is a lot on your cap. It was instantly the best
Mhm.
contract extension in the league.
Yeah,
Like, yeah,
absolutely. And
there's a reason we talk
you
about him
know,
the way we do.
we do kind of, when you talk about Edmonton, it is now 8 goals in 2 games. No power play goals though. If this power play starts to heat up, I mean,
The
now
the
you're
power
looking at,
play, McDavid 5
you're
on
getting up.
5,
Yeah,
that's 5, 6, 7 goals a game. That's a lot. That's
this
a
is a team
lot of
that's getting
goals.
depth of goal scoring, and it's either even strength or shorthanded. That's kind of
Yeah.
scary if you're Anaheim. You you can't let McDavid wake up. You can't let that power play wake up. It's going to happen eventually. So it's, can you get a 2-1 series lead before that happens? Can you get a 3-1 series lead, winning back-to-back games at home before that happens? Because it's coming. Don't know when,
I
but
I would it
it's coming.
definitely if I'm the Ducks, I'm like, if it bleeds, we can kill it. Like I would absolutely be like you and you in the locker room, like 3 guys. When if your line ever ends up out there against McDavid, this player specifically, you just don't get to play hockey. You shadow McDavid around. Do we have the puck? I don't care. Go
Mhm.
follow McDavid around. We will try
Yeah.
and score 4-on-4. Do not let this piss this man off so bad. Be
Yeah.
the most annoying prick possible and just be a shadow. Do you think he might get a pass? Stick lift him. Stick lift him anyway. Stick lift him 3 times. I don't even know if the pass is coming. Just keep doing it. Like,
Hmm.
just
Yeah.
that. How could that not be an effective strategy when a player's that good? And as long as it's a guy with the foot speed to mostly keep up, because I don't know if anyone could consistently.
Yeah.
That how could that not be a a good way to handle him? Really,
No,
but
absolutely. We'll see with that series again. You know, 2 great games so far, and I imagine we're going to get quite a few more high scoring, high intensity, just back and forth games, which are always fun. But
I
we
love
are
how
into the
close all these series are. Can I just say,
yeah.
playoffs as a whole, Tampa, Montreal tied up at 1-1. Boston, Buffalo 1-1. Utah, Vegas 1-1. Anaheim, Edmonton 1-1. Dallas, Minnesota, they played 3 games, so it's 2-1, but that's as close as a 3-game series can be.
Hmm.
Colorado, we figured they'd be up 2-0 on LA, but both were 1-goal games. A lot closer than we thought it would be despite being 2-0. Uh Pittsburgh, Philly kind of fucked that up. And I
Yeah.
guess so do the Hurricanes and Senators as well, which I'm just
And
realizing
Ottawa
that
could.
I'm just realizing we don't have them listed here on the list. That's why I keep forgetting that there's one more series.
Yeah. Ottawa could win tonight and just as easily, 2-1, 2-1 series.
Do one right in there.
They could flip it around.
And you're
And
not in trouble till
people
you lose at
hate
home.
the, yeah. And people hate on the playoff format, and I get it, but there's no denying that it gives you great playoff hockey right out of the gate.
Yes, but I don't think that's because of the format. I think that's just because hockey fucking rocks. I think
Well, that is
I think
true,
if you
but
if you match all these teams differently, I think we're still sitting here going, "How awesome is this?" Like, I
yeah,
think for the
but
most part, we're still having a great time. Um,
absolutely. But people say that the format ruins the first round, and I'm like, no, it doesn't.
it doesn't
Like
ruin the
again,
first round.
you
It
know,
ruins later rounds. It makes it so we can't get Minnesota Avalanche in the conference final or Stars Avs in the conference final. Like it
I mean, and that is true.
at most it's a second round matchup. Like Stars Avs in the second round, that should be conference final.
Mhm.
Wild Stars, that should at least be second round. Like
No, no, and
that's
you are right
baller.
on that.
And
And
obviously
you are right on that.
we are still getting the series, so at the end of the day, we're still getting to watch them play, which is the important part.
We're just getting to
Um,
see these teams when they're at their
but
highest because teams kind of only slowly go downhill as the playoffs go on, and you know that physical toll it takes on them. But we are into the final segment of the episode. Everybody knows we love to wrap things up with a fun
uh,
game as always.
did we talk about the Sens Hurricanes
There's nothing to talk
much?
about.
I guess they haven't had a game since last time. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
why they're not out here. You explained that already
nothing
at
to,
the start, didn't you?
yeah, yeah,
All right, I'm caught
nothing to
up.
talk about with them.
Welcome back to the Stick 'em Up podcast.
We got a buyer bail here. As always, buyer bail. I've put together some statements, and this is
Love
just
that.
already instant reactions from the first round so far and what we've seen. And it's up to Braden and you at home to decide: are you buying this or are you bailing on it? Do you believe in it? Do you not believe? Pretty simple. Braden, are you ready?
I am ready.
Absolutely, you are ready. First up, this Flyers team is good enough to do some serious damage in the playoffs post first round,
I
meaning getting
am
out of the first round.
easily buying on this. This is a very good Penguins team that's been good all year, and the Flyers are beating the fucking shit out of them, dude.
They're
They're the
whooping them.
most dominant team in the first round so far, right?
Yeah,
Like the Avs are 2-0, but it's been 1 goal games. They're beating the Penguins ass, man.
they're
They're gonna
whooping them.
beat Crosby into retirement. What the fuck? Like, should it be sustainable? I don't know, but right now they look really damn good. Um, whether they're playing the Sens or the Hurricanes round two, the way they're playing, like if you told me before the playoffs started, they're beating Carolina round two, I'd be like, damn, really? The way I'm seeing it now, I'm like, yeah, yeah, I wouldn't be too shocked. Whoever comes out of the Atlantic, I mean, I think that's tougher for them, but they've been playing a really good game. I'm buying on it. I'm a Flyers truther. Playoff gritty scary.
Next up, the Anaheim Ducks offense is already good enough to go toe to toe with Edmonton's.
I got to bail on that one. They have been so far, but that's with McDavid with 0 points, and he is closer to a 2 point per game player than zero. So once he starts going, like we said, they could be up to 5.5 goal per game pace over a series. The Ducks are pretty damn good. They're close, but I don't think they're at that level.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of with you on that. The tightness of the Kings Avs series is a credit to the Kings defensive game, not a knock against the Avs offensive game.
100%. Yeah, I mean they design these games to be low scoring, and they haven't been able to win them. But they have been, as long as we're just talking about the defense, they've been incredible holding this Avs team to 2 goals a game.
Hmm.
They need more offense to win the games, but
Yeah,
as far as defense goes, they're with the best of them.
right up there, absolutely. Minnesota's defensive core is showing why they are the best in the entire league.
Quinn Hughes, Spurgeon, Faber, Middleton. They got some real good names back there.
Brodeen.
Brodeen, even. They're so good that I'm naming 4 guys and leaving out Olympians. I am gonna
Even out
say
Stanley
pass
Cup
though.
champion Zach Bogosian.
I I think that there might be a couple teams with a better decor, and I think one of them is the team they're facing. I think the Dallas Stars got a really good decor. I think the Hurricanes have a really good decor. Even the Sabres, really solid back end. So
Fair enough.
they're playing very well. They are definitely a top 5 decor, arguably one, but I'm not ready to say it yet.
Imagine this next one should be pretty easy. Ottawa's core just isn't good enough to get them over the hump.
Yeah, I'm buying on that. They're
I
they're
hate to say
they're
it, but yeah.
very good. They're very good. Um, I think Tim Stützle has the potential to be that game-breaking talent. Like most of the best teams have like several really good players, but they still have that one guy who's better. Even if you have
Mhm.
Landeskog and Natchez, you still have McKinnon. You have Gensel Hagel, yeah, but Kucherov's the one who drives it. Um, I maybe Stützle can be that guy, maybe not. But even if he is, do they have the other guys who can be that secondary elite player? They've got a couple of them,
Yeah.
but are there enough, and are they at that level? Right now, it definitely is a no.
I'm with you. Given the current state of their core and making the playoffs this season, Utah could lose the next 3 games to Vegas, and the season would still be a huge success.
Interesting. I'm gonna say bail on that. I think they could still lose this series and end up looking at it. We did pretty good. Um, I think if they lose 3 in a row, that's a bit much. I think that would be a bit too rough. I think they have to at least push it to 6 games, get a win at home. Um, like it wouldn't take a ton more, but I don't think they're quite at that point where the rest of the season's bulletproof. But so far, I think they've got a lot to be happy about and not much to complain about.
Bay and Montreal is the best first round matchup so far.
This one's really tough to gauge because the absolute wonder and fun I get to watch, like the Minnesota Dallas series, is so fun. And I just get to sit there and be stressed the entire time watching my team play because that's just how it is. Um, it's been a really fun series, but I'm gonna go with Dallas, Minnesota. I think there's just so much great talent there. There's been high scoring. There's been just fantastic play on both sides of that. They also have an extra game under their belt so far. So I'm gonna say that one's probably the best series so far.
Yeah, no, and I think you'd be right with that. But we are at the tail end of the episode here. We do want to thank all of you for tuning in. Once again, if you want to talk hockey, let us know your thoughts on anything and everything we talked about or where everything is at in the current state of the playoffs. You can do so through any of our socials. They are linked down below or over on YouTube in the comments as usual. Braden, we got a great weekend of playoff action. We will be back next week. But before we can get to that, as always, final thoughts.
Final thoughts. We are going to now see a lot of teams playing in the other barn. A lot of the series are 2 games in. We're going to get to see TD Garden in the playoffs for the first time in Boston. We're going to get to see Bell Center for the first time this year in Montreal. There's there's a lot of teams going back home. I'm excited to see if that shakes things up, if that changes a couple of teams' performances. But for now, all I can say is what I think I've said a couple episodes in a row. But man, if you're just listening and you're not watching some of these games, if you got a free evening, I implore you, pick a game that looks fun and go check it out. There's some great freaking hockey going on right now.
You talk about Boston, talk about Montreal. You're not even talking about Delta Center, getting Utah there.
Delta
Honda
Center.
Center, Anaheim, first home playoff game since 2018, I believe.
It's been a
2018.
while. Like they're gonna be freaking rocking. Like
Yeah.
it's gonna be good. It's
But
gonna be a lot of fun.
that is it for this episode. We have just officially reached the 2-hour mark. So that is all. We thank you all for tuning in. And as always, we will see all of you out on the ice next week.